Alrighty, welcome back. Hopefully now you have a nice little cup of tea with you and you're ready for the next bit of World of Tanks coming your way. Obviously from the WGLU Season 4 Match Week 11. We're into the first play day of the last two. And we have another game. It's CPLAY up against Lucky Kuraki coming up next. And obviously we saw a nice good game to start off with. But out of these two, who really is the contenders to make the difference?
CPLAY are on another level from Lucky Kuraki. They've been fantastic through towards the end of the season. They struggled a little bit in the middle for sure. In the beginning they didn't do too well because they played a lot of the hard teams, Virtus Pro, School Bus, Kazna Crew, etc. But at the end they've done it well and they pulled it through. For CPLAY, they want to get up to that 5th spot. At the moment they qualified to the finals in 6th. If they win this one, they'll move up to 5th, and obviously TCM Gaming has a little bit of a harder job on Thursday. They've got to play Evil Planner Squad. So that's really what I want to see. Who's going to end up in 5th, who's going to end up in 6th, because obviously 5th you get a slightly better ceiling.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it comes down to towards these two, and hopefully they have that in mind, because towards the end of the season we generally see those quite questionable choices of tanks. The tactics start changing a little bit between them, but I'm hoping these two realise what's on the line here, because it is easy to get a little bit lax towards the end of the season and obviously play a little bit differently. But obviously guys at home, do keep in mind these two are still fighting quite damn hard for this, and they do still want those results to come in. And Melly, how can the people at home get involved with us here in the studio if they want to get their predictions through on this second game?
By simply heading over to facebook.com/WGLEU and clicking on the poll tab, and then just voting for your favorite team and handing in your prediction via the form field below. And since the vote is already up and running, I do have kind of a result here, and it's 87% for core play. And people are, let me check the votes, the exact predictions. Oh, it's gonna be pretty clear if it goes for the community. But they've been wrong already today, so
yeah, but that was a
little bit of a freak.
That was a glitch in the matrix.
Definitely was. There was something going on there that we don't normally see. Obviously, upsets do happen. We've said it at the end of the season. This can occasionally happen where teams have a little bit of a slip. They can fall. We've said that there's been communication errors in certain teams, and it can start kind of becoming a bit of a problem at the forefront. But still, these two teams have been playing quite well, I'd say. Lucky Kuraki have picked up some decent results. Mostly against better teams than expected, and then when it comes down to their own level or below, they seem to struggle to find that focus to really take it home. But CPLAY certainly came into this with a lot of momentum building up to these games, and they've actually come away with a great positioning within the rankings at the moment. And out of their team, there's been a lot of newcomers who've kind of turned heads as well. And I was obviously watching the Russian finals. These guys were definitely in there. I was talking to the Dead Zone a little bit, and a couple of the others, Dekilzor as well. All of them keeping note of what's going on in the bigger scene, trying to pick up some more tactics, look at the way the Russians play it. I'd be interested to see if they actually adapt some of that coming into this one. Steps being the first. Who's got the advantage here?
I think it's going to be a tentative map. Lucky Kuraki have gone for, especially from the north, a lot of tanks in towards the cap with the T-2s in that kind of like 2-minute area.
Yeah.
It's worked a couple of times, didn't work against Freefall though. So it depends if CPLAY falls for that old trick, but I don't think they will. I think CPLAY starting from the south and Lucky Kuraki starting from the north. But yeah, talking about CPLAY in general, if they pick up this matchup, it'll be their 6th win in a row. Yep. Considering they only have 11 match days, that's no mean feat for sure. They're pretty sick actually. Especially going to be a bit of a worrying factor for the teams who are heading towards the finals. You know, an undefeated team, they're looking a bit like Virtus Pro in that respect.
Maybe on a different level, but certainly results-wise, they're doing their job there. So, hard to predict these teams. They came into this season not necessarily untested, but a little bit like, well, let's see what we can expect from them. They really have done quite well. Steps being the first test. I'll be interested to see how this one goes. I think the teams are ready. So, guys, let's get that video rolling for the first map, Steps. Alrighty, so welcome into the first map here. As promised, it will be Steps, and in the south in blue, it's going to be CPLAY. In the north in red, it's going to be Lucky Kuraki, and one of these two getting up to start with.
CPLAY heading towards the left. A lot of teams from the south like that maneuver. Dead Zone, Hacky, Dr. Toy, Dekilza, and Nervax heading that way. Quite a heavy lineup. I would have expected them to pick something a little bit quicker because it's from the south, so really the T-32s are going to struggle. They've got 3 of them alongside a Pershing and an AMX 1390. The only one not heading left is, of course, Rasta heading towards the right. Going to be trying to get a few spots out and see what he can find of Lucky Kuraki.
Yeah, but Lucky Kuraki seemed to be going for a little bit of a different style as well, heading over towards the west side. McMoney at the front, Matt PL, Bishu all joining them. This could spell trouble. We might have an early engagement between these two if they do keep going down this line. McMoney, Shock and Matt all lining up here. If they can find the opponents early on, they could certainly punish. A lot of burst fire in those 1390s. A lot of damage could be dealt early on. Treves, oh, if he keeps going this way, he's going to be met with a lot of brutality, but let's find out if he actually does go fully into this one. Obviously, a good bit of information could also be found.
That's exactly the point, and if he can proxy spot without Lucky Kuraki managing to kill him, he can actually get so much information about McMoney, Matt PL, Shock, all getting out of there so he can't find it. CPLAY don't have the tanks actually moving quickly. The T-32s, they can't flank. They actually need to go for the straight engagement, so CPLAY can't go aggressive. McMoney does peer around, finds Treves, at least that kill going towards Lucky Kuraki.
Yeah, nice bit of opening work there. We are seeing those guys taking their time, getting to not necessarily defensive positions, but finding good cover, finding a place to rest in those 1390s, with the backup obviously not too far away of the T-69s, the likes of Bishu and Koala lining up. So they could find some more, but I doubt that CPLAY is going to head towards this one too early on. They're still waiting on the options here. The Dead Zone lets off a couple of shells, trying to catch out anyone who is out in the open, but Lucky Kuraki fancying that after finding Treves. I think they know what's up. I think they know roughly where CPLAY may be. That heavier lineup won't allow for those fast rotates we do see coming out on steps. And right now you can see those shells just kind of whizzing past a couple of tanks. Bishu just making it in, using the deflade to avoid any of that fire coming in. And at the moment, 7 minutes through, it's not exactly a aggressive start, but it's on the edge of possibly being a little bit of an attacking force here.
Problem is Lucky Kuraki can't actually push into CPLAY because they got so much HP and firepower. And CPLAY are too slow, and they're also worried not so much about these 3 tanks, but they're worried about these 2. For them to actually engage onto these 3, they need to deal with these 2 first, because where there's 2 routes of engagement, you either go forwards and turn left, or you just go forwards. Coco and Bishu will get the cross on there, and they get the cross on there. But then again, you know, if you do it correctly, McMoney, Matt PL, and Shock won't actually be able to support that much, because they'll be having to shoot T-32s in a hull down position higher up than them, which is a very tricky maneuver for an AMX 1390. For instance, mines is really why you do pick that T-32. Dead Zone letting a few more shells off. Finally a connection coming through, 240 average damage from the T-15E2M2 is what he did. And first bit of damage for CPLAY. And they know constantly where Lucky Kuraki is, and I'm surprised Lucky Kuraki haven't rotated, and I guess that's a problem when you go so aggressive. You can get basically caught out in one location and boxed in by the other team. Yeah,
certainly an issue. McMoney outstaying his welcome there, peaked a little bit too much, I feel, and now has to back away a little bit more cautiously, but the kills are just edging forward. It looks like CPLAY might want a little bit of an engagement, but he does seem to be backing away now and looking for maybe another option. But McMoney definitely being caught out, maybe being a little bit restless there, wanted to get another shot off. He did take down Treves earlier on, so maybe wanting a little more for that. But at the end of the day, there's still options on the table for both teams. Obviously CPLAY, as you said, heavier lineup, harder to rotate from. They don't really want to fully rotate, but it looks like Lucky Kuraki are going to have to take that option up.
And Dead Zone wasn't in the best position there to actually make the shots. He was doing the shots consistently, but then he moved exactly when Lucky Kuraki, and that's just good play from Lucky Kuraki. They saw their opening, saw their opportunity, and they just took it. Yep. So now CPLAY need to find themselves a new position. Obviously CPLAY with the 3 T-32s are not looking to be aggressive, probably not looking for a win. And Lucky Kuraki, you know, dealing with the T-32s, unless they're on the other side of the map, or like halfway to the other side of the map, they won't be able to, for instance, cap. The best thing for them would be to basically, you know, do some initial damage, which they're honestly running out of time with, and then having done enough damage, you can actually collapse on the T-32s with a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of opportunity to take them down, because they got a lot of HP and a lot of armor, which is the big problem there. And the T-69 definitely doesn't help. You know, heat ammo against spaced armor is never a good thing. and pretty much the whole of the side of the T-32 is spaced armor as it's just tracks. But Lucky Kuraki heading over towards that trench side.
Yeah, they're looking like they're happy to utilize the speed and slight bit, I'd say a little bit more versatility. Maybe not as much staying power as CPLAY has, but they're certainly looking to try and find a way through. Bishu finally catching up. But it looks like Ruster might be onto this. He was the player originally to head out towards the east just to make sure there was no one out there, but he might get caught by the likes of Matt and Shock with McMoney if he's not too careful. I think he's playing this one smart though, hopefully, and we'll keep in mind the speed that those 1390s has, as that is his tank himself. He can certainly keep that in mind, and we'll see if he can get caught out here or if he can get a couple of shells off himself. At the moment, what's his main job? Getting the information, getting the spots, or maybe getting a couple of shots off?
He had an inkling that Lucky Kuraki went over towards the trench side, and he knew how long roughly it would take for them to drive there, so he just going to spot them out, and he does find Coca-Cola there, I believe, or yes, probably Coca-Cola there. So Lucky Kuraki have to rotate again because their light tanks are being spotted, but they did it well. They juked him out. They were headed back up towards their base, and now when they went unspotted, they're going to surge up towards CPLAY's base.
Yeah, Matt PL quite far ahead of the rest of the pack. 1390s of money catching up. But still, it'll be interesting to see if they actually go for an engagement here. Most first maps are drawn out these days. No one wants to risk losing that first map, and Matt could get into a nice little spot, kind of coined originally by the likes of School Bus, who used to play this one right up in this corner, but mostly as the team from the north, setting up a bit of a trap. But I'm not sure if CPLAY is going to go walking into this one, and we'll have to see how this one plays out through and through, as we are seeing pretty much everyone pushing up with this guy. Matt has finally got into that position. We saw Butcher doing something fairly similar not too long ago, getting some good cross shots on, but other than that, not much on the board there for Lucky Kuraki. 3 minutes left. Lots of rotates, but minimal movement from CPLAY though.
It's classic steps, really. You know, neither team can really find their way in. You know, you got the cap, but if the other team is sitting next to the cap, then you can't cap. So you need to have the other team going aggressive. Then you put the tier 1s in the cap, and then you should try it. But it's over and over again, steps has been the first map, because the teams know they can draw it. And in the best of 5, you know, if you want to draw the first map, which you kind of do, you only need one win to actually win the series. Nervax does take 245 damage. Second shell hitting his tracks, and that's the great thing about the T-32. You can absorb damage in the tracks. But as I was saying, Steps has been featured as the first map. As a teams, they want to ban out maps that they can't play, because it's easy to play Steps. But for instance, Mines, Prokhorovka, a lot harder to play if you don't have your tactics nailed down.
Definitely something to keep in mind there. Matt may be going in again for a shot, but the irony being Lucky Kuraki was one of the sides to start from the north and play this very passive tactic that we saw towards the start of the season. Didn't really work out for them, and they sped up a little bit, they adapted, but now they're kind of falling to the similar style that, well, hindered a lot of others against them. So they might have been able to find a way around it, but at the end of the day, a lot of HP, a lot of armor, as you mentioned, in the hands of CPLAY. So it'd be very hard for Lucky Kuraki to find that a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a way through. But with 1 minute and 35 left, we saw some very last-minute engagements in the previous game. I don't think we'll see it between these two. If it's a first map in an open map like Steps is, I think they'll be playing out for the draw. They've got a couple of spots here. Matt PL adjusting the turret. And he does connect there towards Nervax. So nice work towards him when he gets the opportunity, but he can't outstay his welcome, and he needs to be a little careful here because you don't leave yourself open up for a counter play.
Nervax having to reverse it. The dead zone might want to take his position, but he's still the T-32, so he's still the beast, and his turret is going to absorb a lot of damage if he can. Basically, sure, he's been a little bit lackluster in his play. He's been a fantastic player for CPLAY this season overall, one of the top players in the whole league. McMoney, though, is starting to look like he wants to you know, exercise that trigger finger and that W key.
Well, Shock did see a shell coming towards him, didn't actually connect. And I tell him, you're not going to back away from anywhere. I'm in place, and Ruster also got on a little bit of a rotating. You know, a lot of these players in these lineups have actually been standout, you know, but Money being one of them, Matt PL, a lot of these 1390 players. Ruster, another one, takes a bit of damage there, but 28 seconds is a lot of HP to take down. I don't think either side can really do it at this point. They can easily tuck a tier 1 away somewhere if necessary. And well, I think this is smart play from both sides. They know what's on the line. They do not want to give this one away too quickly. Nervax being caught out there, but not too much damage done. No harm, no foul.
The kills are going to try and ward off McMoney there. Like 20 shots going towards him, a total of 0 connecting and hitting. Oh, 1 connecting there. 3 seconds left. It's going to be a draw. It's Steps, of course. It's what we'd expect, a little bit of garbage time damage, but as I said before, in a best of 5, you have to ban 1 map per team, and then you have to pick probably one of your least favorite maps. But at least if you pick Steps, everyone can kind of play it, and no one's very good at it. So
yeah, there's very few teams who can actually go for that decisive victory on there. We've seen it been a bit of a... Yeah, it's pretty much been the first pick, let's say, throughout the most of the season. I'd like to see how many games, actually, if we went back through, I think I'm going to have a little look towards the offline finals as to how many games this was the first map choice, because it does kind of gift you that draw to begin with if you both want it. But next map coming up, certainly not one of those maps unless you are in the south. Lucky Kuraki do occasionally go for it. They're one of the teams that actually had a team undo them in that south camp. And, well, this could be trouble. So Ruinberg being the second map, not something we see often being drawn out unless it's the final map or, you know, I wouldn't say drawn out, but almost gifted towards one side. Obviously, if you start in the south and you play that south defensive tactic, you can pretty much camp it out. But being a second map in rotation, it's not normally what we see it being played as.
yeah, CPLAY actually lost, though. Lucky Kuraki actually lost from the south versus Asuba, right? And the T32 went down first.
Yes.
And that's basically the way in, but... I have to say that T32 was very
questionable pick, I think.
And it should have reversed. There was no reason why it actually stayed in that location. So there is weaknesses to this camp for sure. And Lucky Kuraki probably a little bit scared of what CPLAY can do. If Asuba can beat Lucky Kuraki in that camp, CPLAY certainly can. They are just a better team, full stop.
But I don't think we'll see them doing that. In second map pick, I don't think it means that they'll go for that south camp. Especially if they don't have the map one in the first map victory. I don't think they'll need to.
Yeah, maybe not. I want to see a lot more towards the kind of Eastern Village, like a quick game there. It hasn't been really that common though. A lot of teams have been going for that camp, but Ruinberg it's not really picked up that this early on in the map rotation. It's usually like a 4th or a 5th map, mostly a 5th map. Like Steps is the first map, so these guys are switching things up in terms of players for sure, in terms of map lineups for sure. I'm expecting 5100s, T32s. This is really what's going to show us if these two teams want to camp. More than one MX 1390 or T69 is going to basically say they want to go aggressive. All IS3s, all 5100s, going to say they're going to cap and going to camp. Lucky Kuraki starting from the south. That's the team I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Lucky Kuraki go for it again. Obviously, that T32 play did not work out too well for them before. If they are going to go for that south passive play, I can imagine that T32 is the last thing they're going to pick to join down there with them, just in case CPLAY were watching that last game up against them. Obviously, Lucky Kuraki up against Asuba. So, something to keep in mind. I think we are seeing a fairly hefty lineup coming in for both teams so far, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of 1390s in there, but... Then again, if there's a 1390 in play, would you argue maybe the East Village is still an option? We see occasionally the 1390s going down towards the Crescent Moon, playing from there outwards. But, you know, if it is a heavy lineup and they aren't just going for that southern camp, would it just mean East Village play?
Well, from the south, so Lucky Kuraki, you can't get into the villages quickly. So if you're going to go for the East Village play, then you need a little bit more of a fast lineup. You need the MX 1390s, T69s. So... looking at what they've picked so far, 2 5100s, an IS3 and an MX 1390, still waiting for Kokolo, who usually picks a 5100. I wouldn't say they're going to go for anything but the city. And Lucky Kuraki, they've always gone for the city in pretty much every single engagement, even in Season 1 when they actually were in the league as well. They've not been really a team to go for fast engagements in the Eastern Village. If they do go towards the village, it's like in the later game like they did against the Nile, kind of creep 2 T32s up, and then go for the cap and use those IS3s, even use those IS3s basically to stop the other team from going back to the cap, and you put the pressure on and you basically win via cap. But final lineup for CPLAY, triple AMX 5100, IS3, AMX 1390 double tier 1. So they've got what I would consider to be the normal, at least for this season, lineup on this map.
I'd be surprised if they do go for that very passive play down towards the south. Maybe a city presence will be necessary between these two, but we'll have to wait and see. Lucky Kuraki might be slightly against it now after it did get undone before. Maybe a couple of other teams have taken notice as to how it happened, but maybe it was a one-off, who knows? I think we're about to find out very soon. The teams seem ready. So guys, let's get our sights turned towards the next map coming up, the second map here, Ruinberg. So, welcome into battle number 2 here on Ruinberg. And in the south, in blue, it is CPLAY. That rather heavy lineup, as you mentioned. And in the south, in red, it's Lucky Kuraki with something very similar. So, what are we going to see from these two here?
From the north, at least CPLAY can get towards the village a lot quicker, so that's what we'd expect, and that's what they're doing. Usually teams go towards the village if they're starting up the north. The village, the city is also an option, but there's really no point if you can get the higher ground. You can get a place that's strategically better. And Lucky Kuraki, as you said, maybe not opting for that camp, at least at the start, are pushing really in towards the typical random battle area on Ruinberg, which is really the G to E line. I'm going to put some presence there. They're going to be mostly concerned about this F road here, because if they cross, Rust will have good line of sight, and really the rest of CPLAY will, and they'll be able to inflict some serious damage onto the tanks they're trying to get across there. So Lucky Kuraki testing if CPLAY is going to be going towards the city, and then they're probably going to go back into defensive positions.
Well, I want to see what Lucky Kuraki get up to a little later, though. This double IS-3 stack, maybe just trying to get a little bit of damage down towards that village if they do go for that peak, cross that F line. Not going to find much though, considering the dead zone, and Hacky already rotated off that once finding out that there was no presence from Lucky Kuraki towards it. But the rest of the side of Lucky Kuraki, where are they? So Bishu just behind those IS-3s. CNNK holding on down that one line. We've got a very passive Kuraki here, just making sure no one's going for that back cap just yet. But money in the 1390. Not sure why they're running a 1390 if this is their plan. Is this a tank that can find its place within the city, or is it just a pick they went for just to keep the money happy maybe? Well,
it does give them a little bit more viability. The great thing about the MX 1390 on this map is basically decapping. This map is all about the cap.
True.
So you send the MX 1390 back, you can reset, you've got a lot more options, and as you said, Lucky Kuraki maybe not so happy with their performance last time they played from the south, so CNNK going forwards. You can see the two IS-3 are still pretty close to their base. That's probably because they're going to rotate them like they do from the south, pushing up towards the eastern village. There's really the rest of their tanks do head up towards the cap, Bishu, Matt PL and the 250-100s waiting there, Coca-Cola keeping the base, and obviously Trevor's looking towards the base as well. So Lucky Kuraki cap probably on the cards. CPLAY are definitely in the defensive maneuver. 250-100s up here. And the IS-3 is really just looking up the F line to try and stop Lucky Kuraki from gaining too much in terms of map presence, keeping them confined towards the city.
So which play do we prefer from these two? Because this is Lucky Kuraki having to change things up, though. Normally we do see, you know, a very southern side between these guys, and they're very happy being there. Not generally going for the victories, more going to secure it towards the end, but now they've adapted a little bit. Is this them being a little bit weaker, or maybe doubting themselves? Already Bishu does take a shell. So do we like this cap play coming out from Lucky Kuraki? Are they one of the teams that can pull it off?
They can pull it off, but they have to go all in, and CPLAY needs to make the first move, but probably needs to make the first move. They need to at least commit to some resources to an area that's not around the cap. So to decap, they have to basically push a lot of tanks in there. And then if Lucky Kuraki has the correct firepower in the correct positions, they're going to be able to dispatch those tanks. And really not going to win via cap, but are going to win via just damage in total. But Bishu does, as you said, receive the first shell. And CPLAY are just going to gain confidence as they go through. Tier 1's not important on this map. Ruster heading up towards the middle. And honestly, I don't think CPLAY is going to hang around too much longer either. They have to worry about Kurak. Treves has to worry about Kurak. But the fact that Treves is in basically a location which says, I'm quite close to the cap, so that's what I want to go for. Because if he didn't want to go for the cap, it'll be a better place to go if he was staying further back, maybe up towards the zero line. You can still spot what's coming over there, but at the same time, run away quick enough.
So 5 minutes and 55 seconds left. Now minimal movement from Lucky Kuraki. They seem pretty solid as to where they are. Bishu actually falling further back towards the south, maybe to support the 1390 there in Kurak. Maybe having a feeling that CPLAY might turn this into a cap race if they can, and they want to hedge their bets. Not exactly a bad plan for these guys. Obviously, as you mentioned, that tier 1 is in position to maybe get this one going if they feel the need to do so, but all in all, neither side really making much of a move here. But Money is heading forward, and he has found Treves, so removes a little bit of that option on the cards for CPLAY.
Yeah, big kill there. Treves would have been able to put an extra dimension of pressure if he did manage to start the cap. McMoney getting spotted is going to cause CPLAY to perhaps change things up here. Nervac still there in the IS3 in the middle. The kills are also looking up that line, but CPLAY look a little bit shaken. And that could be Lucky Karaki's way into this game, but still a lot to do from their point of view. And Ruinberg is another one of those maps where it's so hard to win on if you don't play it out correctly. Ruster being really that guy to roam the whole time and basically give his team that information they might need to make a good concerted effort towards a location. Bishu takes the shell, as I said. McMoney there in support though, so Ruster, if he goes into that situation, he'll be in deep trouble.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they realised that Bishu has actually joined McMoney. It was earlier on that Bishu took the shell. Bishu joined McMoney after that tier 1 went down, so they might be able to catch up Ruster pretty easy if he goes for the 1v1 against McMoney. Maybe trying to test out this guy's patience right here, and it could go really badly wrong if they just do head towards this. But then again, that 3-tank stack in that eastern village could start hurting, as Ruster does slowly but surely edge forward in that 13-19. Needs to be careful. They haven't spread out these heavier tanks for some time, and Bishu behind McMoney can certainly cause some damage. So we'll have to see if they actually fall for this, if they go for this kind of let's try and pick out one tank while we can, as Ruster is edging quite far forward.
Yeah, Ruster's testing the water. He's taking down a couple of trees so he can stay within cover, within the V range. But the problem is he's basically having to spot through bushes and trees, which is really bad for him. He needs to be in those bushes to spot past those bushes, otherwise the tanks behind obviously can continue to be unspotted. As 1-for-1 Nervac takes down Kuraki, so tier 1's down for both teams. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. Lucky Kuraki, one of the slowest teams. Actually, CPLAY is the team in the league which has the longest battle time, so perhaps not so surprising.
No, certainly both teams being quite passive here, making sure if they do go for a move that they can actually get a victory off the back of it. It's something that Virtus.pro used to discuss with us, when they used to play a lot slower than they do these days. They'd never go for anything unless they knew they had the victory on it. And right now, it's not a bad thing to start off with until you're very confident as a team in the moves you make. It looks like at the moment, a lot of these teams aren't completely confident in every sort of style, and we see it being repeated through and through these times. And the tier 1's still spawning out each other, CNNK and Dr. Tour, but nothing can really come of that. But Ruster might get caught out by McMoney if McMoney does find a little bit of a spot towards him. I don't think they know he's directly there, as it wasn't Ruster to take down the tier 1 either. So all in all, a bit of a polarizing map here. East side being taken by CPLAY, west by Lucky Kuraki. A little bit Prokhorovka-like, but obviously a lot more cover in the mix, a lot more options on the plate. And it looks like this heavy lineup for Lucky Kuraki will be trying to draw this one out in a little bit of a different style than their normal passive play. Certainly adapting, looking for ways to maybe secure this without having to do that very southern style, which was completely undone. And obviously Bishu now readapting across with McMoney. 2 minutes on the board though. We could still see a cap play coming out from one of these sides, but it'd have to happen pretty damn soon.
Yeah, I think they're going to go for it. I mean, we're heading towards garbage time. Bishu doesn't want to get spotted, so he's going to take the scenic route for sure. McMoney and the MX 3090 is a little bit smaller, and you can see immediately CPLAY are reacting. They know that within the last 2 minutes of the game, it's extremely likely that Lucky Kuraki are going to try something. The most likely option is the cap. The one that can only work is the cap, so really committing and everything, their resources down towards it. The dead zone heading off. Haki, Nervax to kills, and Ruster's just going to be keeping the northern area, probably the F line, spotted and safe.
Oh, you literally need to cover your bases at this point in the game. McMoney is heading up on his own. The 1390, a little bit out from the pack here. The bigger firepower, a little bit further away. McMoney does back out of that one. Maybe not wanting to challenge down the likes of Nervax, Haki into kills or straight up here. And funny enough, the IS3's not joined them, so this could hurt a little bit. Just the 5100s pushed up. Matt PL and Bishu there. 1 minute left. I think it's almost beyond that, but it looks like CPLAY are just going to continue pushing, and they've found McMoney at least, and he could get really hurt from this one. Down to 814, a lot lighter than the others, but at the moment Haki does take one back, but I think with this engagement they don't have enough time to actually go for the victory.
No, the tier 1's also alive for Lucky Kuraki. They can probably just run away, and pretty fast tank, it can hit 40 plus kilometers, and the IS3 is about the same speed, so problems there. Haki does take down CNNK, so at least the tier 1s are out.
At the moment though, a bit of fire comes in. I'm not sure if I'm completely sold. This is going to be a defining attack from either side, but at the moment Dead Zone does come around on the flank to find Matt PL. They're still going for it. Matt has to back away. 25 seconds left. Keep your eyes on that clock because Bishu is low, but Haki finds Matt, and well, CPLAY going for a little bit of damage here. They should have taken down Bishu by now. I think they've left it a little too late. But then again, Money falls as well, leaving only Kokoala left alive, but he's on a lot of HP, 8 seconds left. Surely not going to do this.
Rasta a little bit late to the party. If he was there early, it could have been a game over, but yeah, 2 seconds left. CPLAY, I'm going to have to draw this one out with 4 tanks, machine tanks alive. They could have done that one. To be honest, it does say something about CPLAY and their weakness for the finals. You know, they had the advantage in terms of positioning, and they had the surprise attack as well, knowing what Lucky Kuraki would want to do, but they didn't see it. And despite the fact that they could have won that map, they basically went for the draw and the garbage time. Where the real option was, and what they didn't see, was that they were a better coordinated team. And with the AMX 5100 from the back, despite the fact that they missed like 3 shells on a 200 HP one, they were just better and in better positions.
Yeah, so both teams not fully committing towards a victory there. And that being the second map, that's something we don't normally see. Normally by now we see the team starting to chip away at a victory some way or another, whether it be on a closer range map. And we're seeing an interesting map pool though, considering the next one coming up is Cliff, which can also be fairly one-sided to an extent. We've seen a couple of teams try and break that with aggression from either side. But all in all, these aren't truly decisive maps. I feel this could be decided in the last map, maybe, if it comes down to maybe a city one, whether it be Ensk or Himmelsdorf. We have to wait and see. But Cliff, we have seen results on. It's not as drawn out as the last two. Are either side good enough to go for that aggressive start, though?
They are good enough, but it's really if they want to. Lucky Kuraki have done the aggressive start maneuver quite a few times. CPLAY have really been playing towards the hill. And you have to say, CPLAY have been getting worse at Cliff as opposed to better
They
throughout the
started
season.
off quite well.
They started off well. At the beginning of the season, they're pretty good. Lucky Kuraki actually are decent as a team who started playing the 250-100 on this map and then actually realizing that it doesn't work. They've obviously done a lot of training, a lot of theory crafting towards the map.
Yeah.
So they are potentially the better team that could be warring stuff for CPLAY. But then again, Cliff, you know, in 2 days' time, on Wednesday or when the patch is released, the Cliff from the north completely changes. Like, completely. It's going to be completely rebalanced. And so, you know, when we're looking towards the finals, obviously it's not going to be in 2 days. We're going to have to see how Cliff actually pans out there as well.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a very interesting development. Maybe from the north, you're actually going to be a significant advantage.
We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's fairly even at the moment, even though you
Pretty
do have
even,
the easier way to push on one side than the other. But then again, teams with their coordination sometimes are absolutely atrocious, and it can be their downfall as well, even though it does give you the option to do so. So at the moment, we are seeing the tank choices coming in. Then again, you know, these tank choices aren't completely indicative of a push either way. They can be played fairly defensively to an extent. The T69s, the 90s don't necessarily mean they're going to go for an aggressive start, but it means the option's there. Is there any tanks that we might see thrown into this? So maybe a 416, anything a little heavier, or is it just going to be a standard T69 1390 combo?
The trouble with the 416 and the Pershing is that if you actually want to go for the fast maneuver, the fast aggressive action in the beginning, then they're kind of useless. The Pershing does really average damage, 240. The 416 does a lot more, but then again, 85 degrees each way turret reverse, no auto-loading turret, so you know they're not good at actual aggression. They're good at standoff play and getting a lot of shots on, and if the other team kind of doesn't get the position and the aggression right, then that's where those tanks come in. But triple AMX 1390, double T69, double tier 1 for Lucky Kuraki, and the same so far for CPLAY. We're waiting for Dekilzo, who I believe more of a heavier kind of player, the T69s, the IS3s, the 5100s, and the MX 1390. So I think triple T69, double MX 1390. CPLAY are starting from the north. So actually, I prefer the triple MX 1390 because from the north you have a little bit of a longer route and slight disadvantage at the start, at least, just below that lighthouse.
So at least they'll get to even the playing field a little bit with those 1390s in play. It makes sense. And I do want to wonder, you know, do you think we'll ever see maybe that WZ132 coming into effect here? If it's, let's say Mines is fairly equal with the choice of now the 1390 and WZ132, do you think these teams might consider it at any point, or is it just not got the sustainability the 1390 does?
The WZ132, the only good thing about it is it's fast.
Yeah.
And obviously it doesn't have an autoloader. So on Mines, if you have an autoloader, unless you're playing like an AMX 5100 with the 90mm, then you're still going to be reloading for like 10 seconds on the hill.
Yeah.
But on Cliff, it takes longer to get from the spawn to the point of action than it does on mine, so you're gonna just have reloaded basically maybe like 5 seconds and you've already reloaded. So that's why you won't probably see the WGL132 on this map anytime soon.
So we are just waiting on CPLAY to let us know they're ready. We're still waiting on Kills to pick up that tank of his. Lucky Kuraki have got their lineup set and ready to go. CPLAY have given us the nod, so they're ready to get this one underway. Is there a prediction from you on this one? Do you think we can have a victory on this map?
I think Lucky Kuraki might actually win this.
I don't know, they have seemed a little bit better overall so far, but I find it hard to vote against CPLAY. Obviously, you've been playing quite well throughout this season. I think you guys at home feel the same way, obviously off the back of your votes. But we'll have to wait and see how this one goes down. I think both teams are going to have to try and make sure they're ready for what's coming up, go for the victory run, this passive play we've been seeing fashioned throughout, but I think the team's ready. So guys, let's get rolling towards the next map, Cliff. As confirmed by our social media expert, you guys have actually slightly withered away in your votes for CPLAY. Only 61% now of you backing them. Maybe the support in Lucky Kuraki has grown. And well, speaking of CPLAY, they will be starting in the north in blue, and the south in red will be Lucky Kuraki. And are we getting the start we expect?
Yeah, CPLAY are going to put a T69 up here, so CPLAY are not going to go for the initial aggression, and they're probably just going to sit up behind this lighthouse a little bit. And just wait for maybe Lucky Kuraki to make the first move. But Nervax has to really get this move perfect, otherwise he can be a little bit late to the party. Matt PL and the rest of Lucky Kuraki heading up towards the middle.
Yeah, Money joining him as well, but the rest fairly further back. Obviously the T69's not quite got the speed the 1390 does, and they'll get a bit of a face full of hacky, but no real damage done just yet. A little bit of fire comes across, but no team going for that early aggression, it seems.
And Ruster being in this typical position, he loves this place.
Yeah.
CPLAY always picks this map from the north, so not hardly surprising that he's really come adapt, and one of the best players in this position, one of the best players in the league at all, overall for sure. And B2, B3 areas where that tier 1 is, and I think we're probably going to get a winner. Matt PL, Bishu, Coca-Cola, all sitting up behind the rock. Whether CPLAY can actually make the first definitive move, we'll have to wait and see, because Hacky just is going to be reloading, so at least 30 seconds until CPLAY wants to try something. Travis already, though, pushing around, is going to find CNNK. Yeah,
CNNK just waiting in case there is that double split over towards the side. We've seen it coming in occasionally, 230-90s heading round, but no one really joining Travis. There is the kills all there, but not sure if he's going to fully go for this either, but nevertheless, Shock quite far back. Matt joining the likes of Bishu and Comet Money, trying to test, and Bishu and Coca-Cola just peering up and over. So no one really going for that early engagement, no one going for the definitive play to start with, and I'm waiting to see if anyone really... Tell me he's not stuck.
No, he's not stuck, but he's just a fool. It's going to take him a long time, so I think Lucky Kuraki should push in right about now.
Let's just leave it for a moment on this guy right here. Let's just give him a moment.
It's like, I don't know. You know when you like put your trousers half on and you're just trying to, like, I don't know, grab something from your desk and you're kind of waddling? This is what it reminds me of. He's like struggling at such a basic, easy task.
We're just going to enjoy this. No, go back. That's... God damn it, Ollie. This is all I wanted to watch, and now
he also lost
it.
40 HP.
Keep watching.
He's done this before.
He has.
I've seen this before.
Maybe this is his tactic.
It's his
you never
name,
know.
man. It's his name.
Maybe this is how he gets them to push in, and he's secretly can just get out of it in an instant. But at the moment, no actual move off the back of it. It looks like maybe slow. There we go. Yes, he's back.
I mean, the good thing about it is it does take a long time, so you're leaving yourself vulnerable. Once you actually do it, you're on top of the mountain without actually having to expose yourself. So it's a good move if you've got like 3 minutes to spare to do it.
Well, he had the time, and now he's got the positioning, and Bishu and McMoney being a little cautious now, backing out of this. Haven't actually spotted on. Trevez did get spotted up by CNNK, and you can see the kills are up on that hill. Could get some real damage done. Ruster getting a little bit more aggressive, feeling a little bit more confident now he knows that Dekilzor is up there and can support. And, well, CNNK certainly in trouble here. Let's get a couple of shots on towards Trevor's. It's Trevor's. A little bit of dangerous driving, to say the least. And Dekilzor unable to make the shot just yet. CNNK has got a lovely little rock to hide behind. And if he peeks out on the wrong side, I imagine Dekilzor could take the shot. But at the moment, neither side's still making that move. No one's really that confident. That's 6 minutes in now.
Yeah, Dekilzor, though, I think he's going to be the instigator for CPLAY. They definitely want to try something. And I'm not sure if CPLAY, Lucky Kuraki knows CPLAY is actually on the hill. And once you do have a tank on the hill, you have such a significant advantage because you have so many options. And if you want, you can just drive out of there. You can be out there with an instant and only take like 240 to 200 and 480 HP off you. So very good stuff. Dekilzor might have to give the game away if he just peek over because Shock's there and they both get spotted.
Yeah, Shock does know where Dekilzor is. He's going to get himself right to the foot of this hill to near on make it an impossible shot. But then again, they know they could have an overmatch towards the middle of this map now if Bishu and co want to go for it. Obviously, Dekilzor can get damage done, but they might have to start considering their positions here because at the moment they could get undone by this man on top of that hill and they're having to adjust accordingly. I'm waiting to see if they make a move though. Dekilzor's still up there. He's yet to really make too many shots. There we go. As the first one coming towards that T69. A second to follow and they might have to make a move off the back of this.
Ruster might also want to have a little crack onto the side of Lucky Kuraki. But that's the point, you can pester on that hill, and if Dekilzor keeps on doing that for the next 4 minutes, or 2 minutes, they're going to have such a significant advantage. A couple of shells do come their way. Dekilzor receives quite a few.
Maybe peeking a little too far there, Dekilzor, making himself known a little bit too much. And he could have easily split that damage between him and Ruster if they wanted to go for those aggressive peaks, and maybe a bit of a mistake there, but he does let a couple of shells fly. But at the moment, we are seeing it slowly but surely building into what could be the battle. As more shells do come through, Shock does get one towards Dekilzor. But at the moment, no one to really help him out here. No one else really wanted to join in on that fight.
A lot of damage done towards CPLAY, although the positioning may be better. Lucky Kuraki do have the potential of pushing forwards if they have the reloads.
Let's see if they do. Let's keep our eyes on this because Bishu and Money, Kakwala, they're all lining up. It looks like it is go time for these guys. They're going to head over the crest of this hill. Bishu takes one. Shox takes another. They need to be focusing down these targets. Nervax is first. 2 shells come in. Dead Zone covers off some, but Shock finds Nervax. And now the Dead Zone next to Fulton and Money. This is good play, but they need to keep it up now. Bishu looks towards Hacky. Where are the others? Can he get some help here? He's going to be heading forward. He knows where these guys are. They still know Dekilzor is on that hill. And there's still Ruster waiting around near on full HP. At the moment, Cola looking for the shot. Not got reload just yet. Bishu in the same position. They need to be cautious here. They backed away into a small amount of cover. They have to wait for this one to become available. Who's got the best position here?
Lucky Kuraki, if they keep on going forwards, needs to be careful of Ruster because he is just about coming off reload, and Lucky Kuraki have as well.
Game back on now. First shell bouncing out of Cola. Needs to be careful. That hill is absolutely infested with CPLAY players. You can see him. Hacky on the rotate around the side could cause some trouble as well if he gets there. And Money certainly fancying his chances. Heading up. Going to come off reload any second now. He's going to find Ruster first. Gets the shell connecting. Back and forth between these two players coming in. Hacky finds CNNK. Ruster coming in towards the action though. Trying to get the job done. But Money now does get the shot he needed. Ruster goes down. And now Dekilzor looks so vulnerable with 2 minutes left.
And Minkmani's going to be able to head on the hill. I think he's actually reloading, so that's a good thing there for Dekilzor. But he is a one-shot. Hacky is still alive on 614, which is 3 shots. And Dekilzor needs to keep alive. He needs to keep Lucky Kuraki away from the cap.
But Money saved that one shell here. One shell would do the job as well. 86 HP on Dekilzor. This could go terribly wrong as Money now just going to crest over the top of this hill. If he finds Dekilzor, you know it's going to be game here.
Lucky Kuraki should be going for the cap, 100%. They got a Dr. Toya to deal with, but it's the only move they could really guarantee themselves the win because, you know, on this map you can run away, you got cliffs to hide in, you got mountains to hide in, you got rocks to hide behind. Oh, Dekilzor, got to keep himself alive. McMoney has that one shell. Is he going to land it? Dekilzor, tempting fate.
Well, he doesn't need to just land it as look at this. Bishu rolling in. Shock. Cola. They should have had this cap going. This is dangerous. And we're going to see these guys now looking for Dekilzor. They know he's a one-shot. They know he can't escape. Even with Money being unable to make any more shells, Shock will do it for him. 1 minute and 35. They need to find Hacky and Dr. Tour and get that cap going. Otherwise, they might be in a little bit of trouble if they don't get this one completely closed out.
So 2 tanks in the cap is 45 seconds. They might just make that, but 3 tanks will be a certain win for Lucky Kuraki. So Haki or Dr. Toy need to get back. They need to reset this one. Otherwise, Lucky Kuraki are going to win.
Well, here we go. Dr. Toy taking a lot of damage from Kuraki. Kuraki does receive a bit back himself. Needs to be a little cautious here. He might not win this one out.
Yeah, but look at Kuraki's got the better reload.
Yeah, he's suddenly coming off that first as well. So could get in towards Dr. Tour as the rest of the team are pushing in towards that cap circle. Shock certainly in there. Kuraki still in this 1v1 with Dr. Tour. We need to keep our eyes on Haki. When he gets into this area where he can make these shots, we'll spin across and keep our eyes on him because there's a lot of tanks in that cap circle. 22 seconds. This could be all over in a matter of time. Haki now moving in. Kuraki just holding back Dr. Tour. They know what's up. Haki now getting just across the middle of this map. 12 seconds, 10 seconds on the board. He's going to have to land a bit of a stunning shell if he wants to get this one.
Have to try and really hit this first shell, at least hit the track. 3 seconds.
3 seconds to do the job. Haki just about gets into position. And it's too late. Base captured, job done. Lucky Kuraki get the victory, and he just left it a little too late then.
Yeah, he needed a couple more seconds to basically aim down and guarantee himself the shot. But yeah, a lot of mistakes there from CPLAY. Once again, they need to practice map in and out, day in and out, if they want to do well at the finals, because that was a very lackluster performance. And I think that came down unusually to just shots hit. Those T69s below the bottom just didn't hit the shots. The Killzone was too adventurous on the hill. You know, he really has to be a mountain goat. You can see, takes so much damage, so he can't be that pain which CPLAY needs to put onto Lucky Kuraki. He's constantly getting shot, and
they knew that.
He can't
Lucky
crest the hill.
Kuraki knew
this.
Yeah,
he can't crest the hill, so they can go forwards and they can just make their move of their own straight through the middle.
Yeah, it's smart play from Lucky Kuraki, reading the situation well, knowing that Ruster would still be in position, but Nervax was weak. They went for the dead zone and Nervax first.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
And they got the right focus fire. These guys got taken down in a second from CPLAY. And it was just, cleanly done. And sadly enough, I've got to say it, Ruster, the kills or Haki could have done a lot better in the positions and maybe a little bit more kind of disciplined when he should be peaking. The kills or could have done a lot more there. It does take a little bit of knowing when to peak, when not to peak, and maybe getting a little bit more information from the likes of Ruster and just kind of having that cohesion back and forth, because those 3090s on the hill can do a lot of damage. We've seen a good couple of players trying it out and a lot of damage coming off the back of it, but if you do outstay your welcome, you take too many shells, the other team knows you can't peek anymore. They know that you're in trouble and that if you go aggressive you're going to go down, so they made the most of it. So a bit of a shame there actually, CPLAY kind of not really playing to their full potential, I feel. Could have done a bit better there, but regardless of that fact, we will be going on to the next map, which is Himmelsdorf. So, first real city map, let's say, because we did see Ruinberg, which is kind of a hybrid of the two. There's obviously the village in play and a little bit of everything there. But Himmelsdorf is a pure city map, let's put it that way. Who's got the advantage?
I think CPLAY were going to bring this one all even. Lucky Kuraki have shown some good tactical on this map, and I would be really interested to see which one's actually going to win. I think Lucky Kuraki is starting from the south, CPLAY from the north, so they can't really cap that much. We've seen a lot of teams sitting up kind of towards the southern base, really trying to defend, but actually from the south it's pretty hard to defend against a team that goes towards the cap. North it's a lot easier, and we've seen it plenty of times before. But CPLAY, they need to make sure they don't make the same mistakes on the cliff. They need to keep those firepower tanks, the T69s and now the 5100s, in the right place at the right time, supported by the rest of the team in terms of HP from the IS3s. That'd be very, very a key factor for them. So CPLAY's lineup, triple 5100, double IS3, double tier 1, as we would expect. Lucky Kuraki probably going to pick the same, although they have, for instance, picked triple IS3, double 5100, and not the triple 5100, double IS3. But yeah, I think overall CPLAY have a better advantage. I hope, for instance, that the communication is breaking down because they're quite a young team. And I hope that also because they qualify for the offline finals that they're maybe not putting the work in right now. Yeah,
that's actually quite a big point as well. Once they're secured, you can see these teams kind of slacking off a little bit and not completely focusing on, making sure that every bit of practice is, put into place, because there's no better practice than an official game, let's be honest here. You're never going to get the same bit of, how hard the opponent tries and the situations that come off the back of that. So even if they are now secured towards the offline finals, you still need to be making sure that every single second counts as practice, because what better time? You've now got yourself in the position where you can make a bit of that money that's on the prize or on the line, and if they let it slip, I'll be a little bit disappointed. But as you said, a young team maybe need to learn the lessons the hard way, and if this is the case, we'll have to wait and see. Lucky Kuraki currently leading with one map now And Himmelsdorf next coming up. I think I'm with you though. I think CPLAY could certainly do a little bit better on this map. And would you put your prediction fully onto them, or just depending on maybe how they start out? Or
no, I think I'm going to put it on them. I said Lucky Kuraki on Cliff, and I think CPLAY, they like those heavy tanks for them. I think it's this map.
Well, let's find out. The team's ready. Let's get rolling towards Himmelsdorf. And welcome into Himmelsdorf here. Lucky Kuraki and CPLAY going head to head. We've seen all the likes of Steps, Ruinberg, and Cliff just gone. This is battle number 4. We're really going through this one, aren't we? So Lucky Kuraki will be starting in the south in red, in the north in blue. It will be CPLAY. And what are we going to see from the start here from these two? Because, you know, there's been a lot of variation. We've seen a lot more usage of that 3-line play in, well, contrast towards the hill. How are these guys going about it?
They're looking towards the right side for sure. I don't think CPLAY wants to draw this one because they are one map down for sure. Hacky, the kills are straight away looking up the 2-line, and you can see the Dedzo in the background just coming off reload now in that 5100 also coming from behind. So 4 tanks, 4 combat tanks and 1 scout tank over towards the left side, and CPLAY are going to go probably for the classic, pushing towards the cap. The only one that's not gone there is the Ruster in the 5100 alongside Dr. Tor in the tier 1.
Well, Bishu and Shock will be waiting to receive if they do fully commit down here. Hell for leather. Obviously, let's bear in mind, Cola, Money, Matt, and all the others aren't far away, so it could be a quick rotate coming out from Lucky Kuraki if CPLAY fully commit here, but Bishu and Shock certainly on the forefront. Then again, they can near on negate Shock's position and leave it just to taking down Bishu on the side if they do go for this peak, and I think we're going to find out if they are going to go for this. Bishu's turret is not facing towards the left. Here we go. Nervax into Killzor. Big burst damage comes out. Bishu takes 2 massive shells. 625 HP left towards him. That is a phenomenal start for CPLAY.
And that wasn't even a high damage roll for the IS-3s. That's the damage potential of 2 BL9s heading your way. Bishu down to about 45% HP. Great start from CPLAY. What can they do now? They can push forwards. Yeah, they've been spotted out, but who cares? They got the firepower. Ruster's also got the heal. CPLAY really are holding all the cards. The Dedzo has to be careful, but as long as he goes forwards enough, he can support Treves, and the cap will suddenly become an option as Shock. And really the rest of Lucky Kuraki are rotating back towards the middle.
Yeah, they are bracing for impact. They're expecting that cap push to come out here. I'm not sure if they know that there's the likes of anyone up on that hill. We'll have to wait and see if that can come in and affect this a little bit later, but Bishu and Matt certainly now trying to be a little bit careful here. They know that there will be opponents arriving pretty damn soon on the doorstep of their cap circle, and well, has CPLAY continued the push, or are they being a little bit more cautious now after that initial damage?
No, they're going to continue. They know how to do this. They've given us loads of textbooks examples of how to push in towards the cap, and it's going to be a big test on Lucky Kuraki if they can stop this, because Treves, the Dead Zone, and Hacky can basically get in there, so the pressure starts immediately. Then Lucky Kuraki has to commit. Usually the cap doesn't actually work. It's more about the damage. Which team does the most damage when it comes to the actual firepowers. Dwyer does a great job against the NNK.
Yeah, 9 HP left, knowing they had a couple more shells to make than the opponent who just missed the first couple. But while all that happened, we're still seeing these guys waiting for the appearance of other tanks. And you can see the Hacky, the Dead Zone are getting around. Their Bishu retracting in further. These guys know what's coming, but Money now rolling, trying to get away. Oh, the kills or Novax actually missed the shells. Oh no, they do connect it towards Money now, but a little late to the party. But finally the fire does start. We're seeing the counter move coming out from the likes of Cola, likes of Shock, moving in towards, well, Hacky in the Dead Zone, but Cola on his own. He went in without support, but finally Bishu arrives, gets the job done towards Hacky. But a 1-for-1 exchange wasn't ideal for Lucky Kuraki here.
But look how much damage they've done on the back of that, because Bishu already took 2 shells at the beginning. Yeah, McMoney, he's going to come around though.
Yeah, great spot from McMoney now. If he can get this job done, he's going to find a Killzor first, gets the shell coming in. Couple of shots from the back, but Nervax still sitting pretty. McMoney doesn't have any more shots to make. He peers round, and just coming off reload. The fire now coming in from Bijou and Matt. Matt and Bijou are both low. Nervax could really do some damage here, but McMoney coming in. Nervax finds Matt. This is going back and forth. The cap has started. McMoney not yet got a reload. He's watching his teammates die around him. Finally takes down Nervax, and DeKillzor should be off reload first, and this could start hurting. 1 minute and 22 seconds. Both caps will be started, but Ruster will be coming to the action, and Shock needs to help McMoney here. He's doing just that, waiting for Ruster to push across, but McMoney gets away on nothing. 55 HP. Ruster bounces the shell. That is huge. Doesn't make it on the second try. This is a scrappy battle.
Yeah, Ruster's only got one shell left. It's not going to enough to take down Shock, but Shock has got enough damage to take down DeKillzor.
Here we go, Shock moving in towards DeKillzor. First shell comes out. Oh my god, this is close. DeKillzor does have 51 HP, 10 seconds on the cap for CPLAY as well. They're still going for this one. And looks like Shock's going to ignore DeKillzor and going to reset this cap. 4 seconds left. Oh, DeKillzor from the backside takes out Shock. 0 seconds. We've got CPLAY picking up the base capture. And my god, lucky Kuraki just didn't know what happened.
McMoney did a great job from behind. The problem is the AMX 5100 should have been there. The IS-3 shouldn't. Definitely McMoney should have been in the front because he has so much armor and HP to deal with. The 5100 has to be the flanking tank, so some just bad resource management, and perhaps also Coca-Cola coming around that corner, all guns are blazing and getting just basically blown up immediately, and Lucky Kuraki, CPLAY does some good damage at the beginning. So just some resource management problems from Lucky Kuraki, and once again, that camp from the south doesn't actually work if a team is good enough to start capping and also get the damage on at the same time. And that's even with Ruster being late to the party. It was 5 versus 4.
That's a very good point. So we are currently tied up at 1-1, and well, the deciding map's going to be Ensk. Not a map we often see coming in as a deciding factor here. I don't know if we can really look back at Himmelsdorf though as an example of how they play on city maps, because it was a little bit of, you know, couple of mistakes, resources just not being put in the right place. I'm not sure if we can completely look and go, actually, that was just poorly played out by X. I think they both played okay, but, you know, there was just a little bit more emotion for CPLAY there. Lucky Kuraki and Co just going back and forward. So, Ensk, not just a city map. It's not just purely a city map like Himmelsdorf. There is that green zone to an extent. Doesn't necessarily play out like a complete open map, but still, it's certainly there. And we see a lot more well-rounded tactics being played out. So the cap obviously came in the last game we witnessed. Didn't really work out too well, obviously, but nevertheless, there are those options. I think either we'll go for it here, or what are we going to see? Because we're currently tied at 1-1. Who's the more aggressive side, or who's the more side likely to go for the win here?
I love CPLAY on Ensk. They use that railroad very well. They put the IS-3s behind them and basically get themselves half the map straight away. And Lucky Kuraki knows that, because that's what CPLAY have done every single time this season. From the north, it's going to be Lucky Kuraki. From the south, CPLAY. So not the normal sides, actually. CPLAY likes playing for the north for sure. So maybe the green zone is probably going to be the option for them. 1 point in the bag will maybe guarantee them 5th place if Evil Planet Squad manage to beat TCM in the next match day. Of course, the last one on Thursday. But triple 5200, double IS3, double tier 1 for CPLAY. Looks like very much of the same coming out from Lucky Kuraki. Just waiting for Coca-Cola, and he was playing the IS3 on Himmelsdorf, so we can kind of deduce from that he's going to play in the IS3 on Ensk as well. But for sure, for me, CPLAY are going to win this map. Lucky Kuraki, though, they feel more comfortable on a map which is not just about the city.
Yeah, but Lucky Kuraki can be dangerous on occasion. I find it hard to write out players like McMoney, and I look at their play. It generally does come out to the city, if I recall. They do like their kind of roaming 5100s on their own, leaving the IS-3s more as a defensive. But I'm interested to see how they play this out. I think both teams have the capability. I think it's who wants it more, who's willing to go for the first move, who's just going to sit there passively and just hope that it comes into their favour after someone makes that initial kind of stance. And you know, for me, I don't know. I think CPLAY all round have got the better chance. But I think Lucky Kuraki are a dangerous team. You know, if you were going to put your money on the line, if let's say you went to Facebook, you want to do your voting, who would you put it on for this final map now?
I would put it on CPLAY.
CPLAY overall to pick it up 2-1.
Yeah.
Why? Is there someone who's is there anyone who stood out to you today who's actually been playing on point, or just as a team they've played it better?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's what CPLAY is all about. You know, Ruster definitely at
He's
the
a
beginning.
one-off, though.
Yeah, but he was shining at the beginning of the season.
True.
But now it's kind of like the whole team's kind of picked themselves up. The Killzone, for instance, in the last map did 2.4k damage. Nervax has also been doing very, very good. So I don't have really a standout player. I'd say the whole team seems to be meshing very well. That's why they've been winning stuff. And for me, Lucky Kuraki, it's going to be McMoney for sure.
Well, we're going to find out. Last map coming up. It's going to be Ensk. So, welcome into battle number 5 here. Currently tied at 1 apiece. Lucky Kuraki and CPLAY have to find out who's going to get the victory here. In the north, in blue, it's going to be CPLAY. Overall, maybe the better side, but in the south, in red, it's Lucky Kuraki looking to turn it around. And what are we seeing from these guys so far?
CPLAY heading straight in towards the city, actually. Haki's going to take the one line, quite unusual, but this is what CPLAY like to do. One actually heading over here. Okay, the Killzone and Nervax are heading there, so they are going to be trying to get the cross on Lucky Kuraki, but of course, as you said, Lucky Kuraki, a team that likes to play in towards the city more than anything else, so that's where they put most of their tanks. The tier 1, of course, they're heading up the train line because they know CPLAY like the train line play. The Killzone making a couple of shells, as does Nervax. But no real aggression from the start. Both teams just getting their set positions, and we'll see what they do from there.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. Lucky Kuraki, as you said, in the south, getting in towards the city. Shocks did make a couple of shots down towards Haki, but not really any finding their place to connect towards McMoney, holding on the push in case it did come out. And we see the kind of standardized positioning now from Matt as well. So it's kind of what we've grown to expect from these guys, but I'm not sure if they're going to wait around this long. They haven't really got much information on the opponents. They've not really found too much. Obviously, the dead zone and Nervax not too far away. And we look like we're seeing a rotate out from CPLAY over towards that green zone. Or at least to just adjust themselves. Maybe to find a way through towards Lucky Kuraki, who seem to be doing something fairly similar themselves.
So CPLAY like to play a staged game. So at the beginning, the best option would have been to try and get the cross, see if they're going to hit a couple of shells. But now they're going towards a later game. They're heading over towards the green zone because that's the best play for them. Kurak could spot them though, but it wouldn't be that much of a big deal because this is really the normal play from CPLAY. They're going to try and get the side onto Lucky Kuraki, but Haki so far out could be a problem if Lucky Kuraki, the Polish team, decide to push in, but I don't think they will, and these two are going to have kind of free reign on the side of the Polish team.
Now, I've got to say, McMoney normally does quite well in this position. I'll be interested to see how he comes up against the likes of Ruster and the Killzone. First shell does come out of shot. McMoney looking to make a following. Didn't do so really, as these two not going to find a comfortable way through. McMoney and Shock actually rotated down here, expecting this play, and look at the push forward coming out from the likes of Bishu, Matt PL. They're going to try and make the advantage of the overmatch they might be able to find, as Treves tier 1 will go down, and they knew that Haki might be out on his own here, and this could be a weakness spotted out if they do go for it. But Bishu on reload, interesting way of pronouncing it, Lauren. Reload was the word I wanted. But at the moment, it looks like both teams kind of adjusting back. I'm surprised Lucky Kuraki didn't go more for Haki there, as he was kind of out on a limb.
Yeah, I'm surprised they just didn't go straight in. The Lucky Kuraki of old would have pushed straight in, at least at the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, but they're being really tentative. They would have caught Lucky Kuraki out. Haki would have been down because the Killzone and Ruster are, as you said, completely out of position, not in a good place. And even before that, if Ruster and the Killzone are going to push you in that location, so have tanks ready to deal with them. Have like 4 tanks just sitting next to the railroads. As soon as they get spotted, head across the railroads and just nail these 2 tanks down. But we don't see that all the time, and I think it's not really something which they could do and feel confident with doing.
See, I think that's the big point there, not feel confident here. They did commit those 2 IS-3s early, McMoney and Shock, before they spotted out the 2 moving down the 6 line. Nice work there on the cross, actually, coming out from the dead zone. Does find McMoney, not going to be able to cross too easily. But all in all, I've got to say, they did commit those 2 IS-3s, but the confidence to put more there than what is standard would take a little bit more, maybe faith in the tactic, faith in the opponents. But Bishu getting caught on the cross, that's going to hurt. He's down to 691. That is not exactly what you wanted. Kola does end up joining him, but now they're in a little bit of a split here, and gotta say, Money's not in the... Well, he's out on a bit of a limb. He does have support, but it's from quite further down south, and this rotation not as clean as hoped, I can imagine.
A nice damage for from Lucky Karaki's perspective, but they kind of got it wasted a little bit because Bishu had to try and play over towards the green zone. And a classic CPLAY style. They're keeping in the middle, they're stopping the other team from coming off. Shock receives 706 damage, so he's down to about half HP. And it's cost a lot for Lucky Kuraki to go over towards the left.
Yeah, Bishu trying to work it back, taking down Dr. Tua, Kola, Matt PL, Money, all trying to find maybe a way of chipping away the HP of CPLAY. Yes, the 2 tier 1s are down, but excluding that, only the kills are really taking that much damage. So far, what we've seen really is a small move from Lucky Kuraki, mostly spurred on, I feel, by CPLAY's positioning. And where do you think they're going to try and take these green zone tanks out towards?
I think they're going to take them towards more of a defensive position because they're taking a lot of damage, and you can see CPLAY are going to use that damage they've done and basically push forwards with their damage dealing tanks. So 5100 will go forwards, the I3s probably will go for a cap, and we'll probably see, you know, a split cap push pressure, but obviously the tier 1s, Dr. Tora, Clevers are down. So that could be an issue for CPLAY. They will have to go for the firepower or commit everything in towards that cap and hope they can do it via that. But Lucky Kuraki have got a lot of tanks towards the city now, so towards the green zone, but more the middle area. And they know that the best option for CPLAY would be coming over from the right side, and indeed Ruster and I believe that's the kills or get spotted.
Yeah, Bishu and Matt PL all moving back over with Kola. Maybe looking to pick up a couple of shots here and there, or maybe just trying to get out of the green zone, knowing that that's an option for CPLAY, getting ready for maybe stopping that cap or starting one up themselves. As you mentioned, options on the board here. Lack of information certainly coming through as well. They spot out the dead zone, but this could be a little bit of trouble here. He's quite far forward. Their rotate was fairly slow. Are they gonna have to slow down here and actually try and deal with the tanks moving in towards their base?
Yeah, they're going to have to stop and basically get themselves good positions because CPLAY at the moment are in control. Though DeKillzo's heading back towards the base, Haki's joining him, and maybe they're going to try and stop the cap. Novax gets caught for a little bit more damage than he sends McMoney's way, but still a good cross exchange as Novax has more HP to start off with, so the better exchange for CPLAY all around. DeKillzo, the dead zone, Haki heading back to base, and it's been a game of cat and mouse, which is quite unusual on Ensk.
Near on steps.
Yeah, this is like they've just kind of ignored the buildings and just played cat and mouse the whole time. This is Tom and Jerry for sure. The dead zone, though, is looking like he wants to find an engagement. Haki, the kills are coming from the right, and CPLAY basically are doing that. You know, they have set locations. They went over towards the green zone, they went over towards the railroad, they went over towards the city, and they always have the same methods and the same places they want to basically have the engagements against the other team on.
Well, they're going to be poking back in pretty soon. The money is actually backed out. Shock's still watching down that 6 line, maybe making sure that no one can cross completely scot-free. And at the moment, DeKillzo coming a little bit closer than last time. And actually, I've got to say it, they could catch these guys out. The Money and Shock are pretty much on their own. Kola, Matt, PL, and Bishu are playing far more passively, and that's exactly what's happened. With Money takes a big bit of damage. One more shell will certainly put him to bed. And there we go. Haki gifts it to him. Now Shock's next up on board. Down to a one-shot now. Haki into Killsaw. The Roman 5100s and IS3s really bringing the pain. And now Matt PL and Kola, joined by Bishu, have to find a response here because they've been out of this fight.
Haki's going to take it down. He doesn't be careful. He does get taken down. The kills are too slow.
Yeah, but 2 kills coming back. CNK and Matt do go down. Dead Zone completely overmatching against Bishu here. And there we go. The Dead Zone finds it. Last man standing, Kola. And well, it's not going well. 309 left on him. Ruster gifts him another 16 HP. And he'll be down and out. Cap even underway. Nervax moves in, and it's Nervax to claim it. CPLAY pick up the victory, as predicted by our wonderful analysis here.
Yes!
Finally, we're right.
I got it right every single time. I'm so happy. Apart from, yeah, Steps they even said they were going to draw it on. So.
Well, there we go. It's all coming up. Oliver,
it's going well. I'm going to clap myself. I got told at school that you should applaud yourself if you do well. I don't know if you guys had to do that.
No. People were actually impressed with what we achieved in school.
Okay. I was just impressed with what I achieved. But yeah, looking back at that, Lucky Kuraki basically make the same mistake as a lot of teams used to do on Ensk. Mousesports come to mind. They have that square area, which is like great, you know. You think you can sit there, you got so many hold down positions, you know, look at me, I got my IS3, big turret armor, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you could see DeKillzo was just strolled straight in behind. Haki was there, and no one could defend that location. So once again, the southern position. If you're going to play on Ensk, you need to be going forwards. You can't be defensive because there's no teams. You can see the kills. He's just having a walk in the park right now. No spots, despite CNNK still being alive. Where is he? What the hell's the point of CNNK being up there if the whole of CPLAY was spotted over towards the right? They're not that fast.
There we go. Killzor can just roll in, but Money just out on a limb. Look at this. Shockham and Money can have no support from the others. 3 tanks completely uninvolved in 2 of their tanks going down.
Yeah.
It's a real mistake through and through. Hacky obviously enjoying the fact of it. Let's go a little aggressive, but you know, regardless of that, Lucky Kuraki just not supporting each other, not, you know, helping each other out in positioning, which I find not surprising, but it's a little bit worrying. You know, a team that can pick up good victories, just not seeing very basic flaws in their setups. You know, Crossfire's within, you know, what are tanks is near on basic. You know, if your tanks are out on a little bit of a limb, they can be taken down instantly. I'm surprised Hacky was able to last so long up in the north when he was on his own. There was a chance that Lucky Kuraki could have done it. And this is what we say every time. If there's someone out on their own, if they get the overmatch against that one player, you have the way in against them. If there's, you know, if the gun in the game does get removed, then there's your advantage instantly. If you can find that one position that's looking a little vulnerable without the support of the other tanks, and then you're done for. But it's even more worrying when a team will create that as a response. It's like Lucky Kuraki did have time to get into a position, maybe to set up a little better, maybe to expect that push coming in. They were a little bit weaker, they received a lot of damage. You'd expect maybe then to see that push coming out from CPLAY. There's so many better options they could have gone for, but they just seem to be used to sitting as far back in the map as possible and being passive, and it just doesn't seem to pay out.
Lucky Kuraki, typically, how they won their previous matchups against like Team School Bus, for instance. I mean, they didn't win, but they did very well against them.
Yeah.
Well, they did win, actually. What they did is they saw what the other team was doing, and they countered it perfectly. Prokhorov comes to them with the 2 AMX 3090s up north, catching the one out that's just driving along, strolling in the park, and they just didn't do that. They saw what CPLAY done on previous times on this map. They went forwards, and then they stopped. They didn't catch Hacky out. They didn't put the tier 1s forwards. Most teams, if they're going to push forwards, they put the tier 1s because they go pretty quick. They're nimble. They can move between objects very fast, and of course, if it dies, it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
But they didn't do that. They didn't find Hacky, and CPLAY probably had the heart in the mouth for like 10 seconds, and they're probably laughing on them to themselves, saying,
"We got away with it.
Look at these guys. They're giving us such an advantage and not seeing their way in."
So, Lucky Kuraki maybe getting a little bit nervous when it came down to it. I don't know what the issue was there. They certainly had the capability and the option to actually get, you know, a fantastic start. Didn't take it, as you mentioned, and CPLAY just worked their way back in. That's how it works out in the end. So obviously CPLAY, they do pick up the victory. I'd say the team that deserved it did get the win in the end.
Yeah,
but Melly, did the people at home get it right? It's a silly question, isn't it? Obviously, of course they're going to get it right.
Of course they do, exactly. 58% for core play. That's well, still clear.
That's quite close, though.
With being very close at the same time.
Yeah. Considering people voted 73% for freefall, maybe now they're a little bit nervous to vote for the favourite.
Exactly.
So,
they want to take the safe route this time. And if we have a look on the predictions, they actually wanted to see more maps being decided. A lot of 3-1s here.
Yeah, that's what I want, but then I think it comes down to looking at the map pool we have. It's like if you see the game starting off with like Himmelsdorf, Ensk, you're kind of like more decisive maps through and through, then you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe we're going to have those like 3-1s kind of scorelines coming in. But if you have like steps to start out with, then you might have Cliff in there, a little bit of Prokhorov. You've got to kind of expect these lower scoring initial games and the really decisive last 2 maps. And that's kind of what we've learned to expect. There's 2 different styles, I think, teams picking maps. Either they want that first real victory, or they go for the late game pickup of the maps, which it kind of makes sense.
If you go 1-0 up and you're in the first map, then you've got to play another 4 maps.
Yeah,
where you could lose, which is the problem. You want to basically
make the victory when it can.
Win in the last 2, so you have less time to play it out.
Yep.
Simple as that.
So we do have a question regarding that topic, and Kev wants to know, why don't you have random maps in the league instead of teams knowing the maps beforehand, while actually voting the maps in our case?
Do you mean as in random newer maps, so like your normal maps, do you think, or do you think maybe the random order?
Well, I would say the random order, since the map pool is fixed.
Okay, so he's just talking about order.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I guess
we can answer both, though, I guess.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
why, let's say, random order is bad, do you feel?
Because we're basically running a league here, and as much as we want to make it as dynamic as possible, as a team, not knowing what map you're going to be playing is not acceptable in terms
Especially
of
with blind picks as well
competitive
now.
standpoint. Exactly. Plus the blind picks, you're going to be picking tanks for a map you don't know about or you just found out about. It would be more exciting for sure. Like admin
Suddenly
just clicks
you see this,
Himmelsdorf or whatever, or clicks Kuraki and they have to adapt. But I don't think it would change the game that much, and I don't think it would be fair on the teams.
I think it removes some of the tactical element as well. Like sometimes we see this beautiful play coming out from certain teams who've done their homework on like, okay, so we know we're going to come up against this team first on this map. Okay, so how do we counter that? And they start doing this running us back and forward. It's very tactical. It's very like, pre-planned. They do their homework. They do their preparation. And I like that. I think it's, this is a game of chess almost. Every single piece moves with its repercussions to it. And it does come down to that, obviously. I think we have to kind of keep that in mind. And also, obviously, adding in random maps so we can answer that question in case you meant it that way as well, I feel. Why do we use a static map pool? Is there any option you think of maybe introducing, maybe not the complete map pool, but maybe a bigger selection? Or is it just down to the core maps at the moment?
I mean, these maps have been around for a long time. If you look at them, actually, the maps you see in this 7 are actually probably some of your guys and most of your guys' favorite maps to play. Himmelsdorf, Cliff, Ensk, Ruinberg, Prokhorovka, Steps, and Mines are 7 maps. I think for me, when I play those maps, I have the most fun. Because it's the most balanced at the end of the day. I want to feel like when I'm playing from a side that I'm not going to be at a significant disadvantage. Of course, there's always advantages. The only real map which we see as a 50-50 split is Winter Himmelsdorf or just Himmelsdorf. But otherwise, the other ones are pretty balanced. We want basically a mixture between balance. That's the most important thing. We want to have a fair play. You can't just pick, for instance, we had Wide Park, where the team from the south would almost always lose.
See, the thing is, I think people kind of get confused. Not confused, but you look at other games where it's played out on both halves. So, for example, in normal like search and destroy based games, you'll play one side on attack and one side on defense. So even if the map is biased, it doesn't matter because you get to play that side as well. So it evens out. But in World of Tanks, you get that one side, and that's your one chance to pick up the map. So you can't have these one-sided maps like, okay, everyone knows Nuke, for example. If you're CT and you drop more than 5 rounds, you're pretty much screwed. So, most maps, I think, in other games can have that bias. In World of Tanks, you need it to be that kind of 50-50 down the middle, maybe a 10% in one favor maximum, but it has to be counted somewhere or another. I just don't think it works in World of Tanks otherwise.
Well, yeah, we're going to move towards that assault method, basically.
Cool.
We're definitely thinking about moving it towards that.
It's only worth testing out.
It's a discussion for Wargaming, of course, to make and see if that was going to work, because it worked at the grand finals, to be honest. And
it did.
if you can play both sides, as you said, you have a much more fair playing ground.
And it'd open up a lot more maps if they could do that then. Because even if it's biased a little more, because at the moment, let's say in our game mode, you have to get these balanced maps. And they are some of the best maps, let's be serious here as well, especially for esports. But if the game mode allows for more, then we could add more. But the game mode we play, we've got to keep it 50-50, simple as that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the bigger option. Within the game mode, it has to be as balanced as possible. Otherwise, it'd be too easy on one side, and teams will just play for it constantly. We kind of see it already on some maps when it's like, okay, it's the last map, they're going to be in the south,
Mines.
defense mode, or, okay, we're starting here, lock it down. There's still that element, but it comes out from the map choice, and that's where you see the other side of the question kind of come into effect, where it's like, well, if they do the smart map choices and the smart map picks, knowing, okay, well, our last map will be Ruinberg, we'll start in the south, or our last map will be Mines, let's start in the south, then you can kind of build the rest of your game around it. So there's a lot of tactics in there, but I think that should answer the question.
Definitely, and at this point in the conversation, it would make sense to explain the way how the teams actually vote or pick the maps.
Sure. So you have 2 maps. We got 7 maps in the map pool. I already said that. You have two maps you can ban. One team bans one, the other team bans the other, and then you have 5 maps you can go through. You pick a map, and if you pick that map, the other team picks a side, and you just carry on going through until you've all 5 maps done.
And
that's it.
It does equate to smarter play, though, because you'll know your strengths and your weaknesses. You know where you can end games and win games, and that's where you see the difference in teams. Obviously, there's specific teams that can win on all games, Virtus Pro, and all maps, Virtus Pro, but, not everyone can do that. You need to kind of be making smart choices in this one. It does help out, obviously.
Okay, and we saw very few pro Rovka the last couple match days, well, last match weeks actually. Is it time to retire this map and introduce something new, since teams obviously don't want to play it?
Well, that goes for all maps, despite, if they're good or bad, or if teams want to play it or not. Of course, everyone knows that Wargaming is creating an esports map, which is basically, what World of Tanks needs. It's always needed that. These maps are built for 15 versus 15.
True.
We're playing 7 versus 7, which I think the 7 part at least is going to stay. Of course, there's going to be format changes. You're looking at tier 9, looking at tier 10, looking at a combination of both and that kind of thing. Plus an esports map where everything's more balanced. You have an attacker, you have a defender, and you swap them around. And of course, the new observer mode coming in 9.2, which should be released 2 days' time. We're going to be seeing a lot of changes for the way the game's played. And honestly, in like 2 months' time, when we're looking at Season 5, I think we're going to be watching a different game.
See, I also want to point out, though, that I think Prokhorovka's become quite a high-skilled map almost, though. The teams who can actually forge a victory will happily put it in the map pool. Teams that can't will be like, okay, well, we can't control the variables. Let's get that to be the one out of there, because the likes of First Pro can forge victories. We've seen teams know how to play it regardless of side choice, regardless of tanks against them. But it does take knowing exactly how to counter every other option. And it's not exactly an easy map to play out. It's open to a lot of possibilities. So I think for one, you need very strong teams to be able to be comfortable in that map, because it's changed so much from the last seasons. We saw it, back maybe last couple of seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, maybe one. T69s and 3090s battling out in the middle, quite quick pace, done. Then teams are like, well, why are we doing that? That comes down to not random factors, but...
Well, the map was changed as well, actually. From the south,
there you go.
You basically can't get into the middle fast enough, so the northern team, you just pick more T69s and T32s. You're cresting the hill further, you have more cover, and you can basically just annihilate the other team. That's the change that made that one happen.
Yeah, and there's it's hard to counter these plays. It takes a very good team to be able to feel comfortable in these maps. There's some others that are the same. Steps also very hard to just bring a victory out on. Some teams can do it, some teams can't. But for everyone to keep in the map pool, it has to be a map everyone's comfortable with. So I think it's just a little bit hard for some teams to feel confident in it. We've seen, I think it was Freefall actually picking up a victory on it. The likes of Wilkie and Co. working really nicely.
They've brought a couple of victories.
I think TCM as well, capping it out.
Yeah.
There is options there to play. It's just, it's not easy. It takes going for that win.
You need guts to win on steps.
Yeah, it's steps and Prokhorovka. Any open map, you need to have confidence and have that guts to really go for the victory, knowing your plan. So I think that's why generally it's not seen so much.
Okay, perfect. So if you guys at home have any questions, just head over to twitter.com/WGLEU. Follow us, of course, and use the hashtag WGLEU to tell us your question, and maybe I will ask your question in the next question round. How's it called?
Question time.
Question time. Perfect. Let's call it question time with Melly. Awesome. No,
it's not a political show, but so good.
Oh, it could be.
It's in England. Question time is like a political show.
In England.
Is that when they all sit down?
We're not in
like,
England.
Yeah,
we're in Germany.
in Heathrow Terminal 5 and talk about politics. Like,
I know.
that's why I
think
can't get on my flight.
I think it was like the midday kind of like shows that come on occasionally, like just before Jeremy Kyle, will have like highlights of it.
Yeah.
Go the way of my Jeremy
they're
Kyle.
trying to educate people who watch
Who
Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah. We're just ignore that. I want Jeremy Kyle. Just mute it and go make a cup of tea. But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think that's a good new title for it. We'll call it Question Time with Melly. I think it's it can be the Carol Vorderman almost. Can we just call it Countdown? Because I like Countdown. I want a big clock in the background.
Math
and the buzzer.
Maths live might be the issue. Carol Vorderman's on another level.
Oh,
she can
is
do
a
that.
genius.
She lives in Bristol as well,
Really? Someone in Bristol can do maths?
I know. It's
Was she
insane.
from there or moved there?
It's the amount of like pigs and like farming animals we have to count there.
She can just handle her sheep.
Exactly.
Sheep and pigs.
Yeah.
Hey, look, who am I to judge? She can count substantially better than me. Like, for her age, she's pretty incredible, I'm not going to lie. Carol Vorderman is #1 here. If she could join any team and be pretty much the best World of Tanks player, I feel.
She would be
Navi's
great
next pickup.
Good coach. Good coach.
Can you imagine her coaching? That'd be incredible. All right, that aside, let us know who you think at home would be the best, probably fictional or non-fictional coach in the world. We think probably Carol Vorderman. I think I'm going to go for her.
Darren Brown or Carol Vorderman?
See, Darren Brown would be good. Melly, you're not going to be a coach.
Why? I can yell at
people. Get your whip out and just hit them as they make a mistake.
Wow.
I don't know what you like, Ollie, but I more like positive enforcement, but yeah.
Brilliant. Is that what you call it these days? You punched a horse, so...
No.
No, she didn't. She'd never do such a thing.
Stumbled a
Nay.
little.
Stumbled, yeah.
Stumbled into her fist is what happened. But anyway, let us know who you think would be the best non-fiction or fictional coach in the world. I think Arabon would be pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Who else is there? You know, Rocky would be pretty good, I think.
Rocky?
Yeah. The boxer, he'd be a pretty good coach,
He
man.
doesn't coach you, he just runs around picking stuff up. And you're like, what are you
Just
doing,
lifting
man?
stuff. It'd
He
just
just
be
like
inspiring.
picks out your PC, unplugs everything, starts doing like bench press with it. You're like, man, chill out.
That'd get you motivated to play when he's not deadlifting.
I'd
your,
have
PC
like The
setup.
Rock or someone.
Oh, The Rock
The
would
Rock
be pretty
would be
good.
sick.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
anyway, back on topic, just so our producer doesn't kill us, we will be going to a very short break, and when we return, we'll be having Isuba up against the Drilling Leprechauns as our final game of this playday. So don't go too far away, guys. We'll be back in 5.